Hi, I'm your host, Paul Michaels. Welcome to another episode of Nerd Supernova. My co-host is...
KJ McDermott.
Alrighty. Today we're going to be talking about Black Panther and how ridiculously awesome it is, I guess? I don't know.
I wouldn't say ridiculously awesome. I mean, it's good, but
Yeah.
it's not ridiculously good.
I
Sense of ridiculous?
Huh? Well, no. I'm kind of like, I know people are through the roof about this movie, and I think it's a very good movie. Honestly, like, I think how best to put this? In the old days, if they ever referenced something in a movie, this before they tried doing cinematic universes.
Yeah.
And they would try to spin things off from that movie. Usually the results were never really that good. They were like remember when they did Scorpion King off of The Mummy or something like that? I mean, that's a bad example.
Unfortunately, yes, I do remember that.
It's a bad example, but it's kind of like the closest I can think to something. So
I remember the terrible CGI with the rock at the end of that too. Thanks for bringing that up. Okay.
Anyway.
I'm gonna have nightmares now about the CGI, not the character.
Anyway, so you have Civil War a couple years ago, and the highlights of that movie were definitely Black Panther and Spider-Man.
Well, the whole airplane scene was the biggest highlight in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean...
But yes, for new characters, we got the new Spider-Man, we got Black Panther.
It was good stuff, and we were like, man, I hope their movies like live up to like their cameo appearances essentially here, and I can say unequivocally that they definitely have lived up to expectation. Unequivocally, I'm bad with words sometimes, but yes, they've lived up to their expectations. I love Spider-Man: Homecoming.
Homecoming was awesome.
Yeah, and
Black Panther I think was even better.
I think it was really damn
Black
good.
Black Panther is easily within my top 3 Marvel movies.
Yeah, I'd say it's at
I
least.
Can say that.
I could say it's at least my top 5. I had to kind of figure it out a bit. But like personally, like I'm glad. I mean, I'm gonna go see it again and again. But like really, I love movies that get better the more you view them. And I've only seen it twice, but like the first time you watch the movie, you're just basically taking in everything about Wakanda. You're taking in everything about how the world kind of works from the perspective of the Wakandians, and then all the clashing and all of like everything, the motives of the villain. But once you realize where everything's going, and then you see it a second time, you're able to enjoy it a little bit more, and you're not trying to process as much because they throw a lot at you. And that's the thing too. It's not even really like an origin movie. It really is just about.
Well, it is an origin movie considering the opening whole.
Yeah.
Like the voiceover thing.
No. But I'm saying.
Vibranium crash landed and.
Yeah, but you're not.
Everything.
But
it's an origin movie.
You're not seeing any.
Get a Black Panther origin with Civil War.
Yeah, no.
A character that was already established.
But that's what I'm saying. Like they're kind of Marvel is sort of doing this thing where they're sort of sidestepping the whole like building up to being the character in a sense, because with Spider-Man they already knew we know the origin, so they kind of just skip it and they just kind of go right into Peter being Spider-Man. This it's different because T'Challa is essentially born the Black Panther. It's a legacy dynasty thing going on. Like his dad was the Black Panther, he used to be the Black Panther, and then he keeps the rule over everyone because like he can hold himself in battle, and then he's proved himself as a king. But like they don't really do a whole thing where like you see him as like a small child.
Yeah, they don't.
And then he slowly builds
flashback and like the whole.
Yeah. So it really is just like them sidestepping, but that works too because you have a lot to go over. You have a lot to go over the history of Wakanda. You have to talk about like the past connections with Claw. You have to kind of set up how these tribes work. You have to set up how really advanced they actually are with the vibranium. I'm going to say this right out the bat because the last movie that we reviewed was The Last Jedi. And no.
Don't even compare the two.
No, I'm not comparing the two. And I want to make a point about this because this is a thing that I think is not getting talked about enough. And well, the thing is like everyone who disliked the movie, whether they were extremely, like negative for like all the wrong reasons, or whether they actually had real issues with Last Jedi. Everyone had issue with the Rose character and Holdo and DJ and all these new characters, whether women or not, but essentially just that they had no point to the story, that they didn't add anything, that they had no real, they had no real character.
Characters and like
yeah.
Well, every character in Black Panther.
That's what I'm saying is the exact opposite. he had not one, not two, not three, but four female supporting characters in this movie.
And they all served a purpose. They all had clear, defined, like, who they were, what they were there for. Like, there was great character development, which I was going to go into later, with all of the side characters. The only one that I wanted more from was the main villain.
Was Killmonger? Yeah.
He was a great villain.
But you wanted more of him. Yeah.
I did want a little more backstory, because there are some loose ends in that.
I guess, yeah.
If you keep going on your thing, we'll come back.
Okay. Well, I just want to say, like, because we're talking about female stuff, because everyone I talk to either was in agreement or they're just like, oh, you don't like Rose because she's a, strong female character, or Haldo, the same thing. And I'm like, no. I dislike them because they don't add anything to the story. They don't really do anything apart from Holdo self-sacrificing. She doesn't forward the plot any. I don't know why she's here. I don't know why this wasn't just a Leia part, or why they couldn't have Admiral Akbar. I don't understand why she's here. Apart from making Poe look like an idiot and being all like, oh, I'm not going to tell anyone the plan. It doesn't make any sense. Rose, you understood kind of why she was there, because she was going to help take out the radar, but then that side plot gets...
over this in the other one.
Yeah, no, but I'm just saying, the sister, you understand why she's there. She's the cue to his James Bond. She has humor, and she's a little bit of a comic relief.
Well, also their relationship, the
great.
Dynamic between them is fantastic. You actually feel like they are siblings.
I do, and
the
like
banter back and forth, where even her with like her mom and stuff, when he first like shows up after like a mission, she's like mouthing off, and the mom like kind of looks and she like apologizes.
Right.
That's
family,
great, and because you know what you can kind of get away with your family, but like if she was a random person saying that to her king, she never would.
I love the whole scene. The second time you see her, she's doing the whole like, "Oh, my king," and he knows that she's just giving him stuff, and he's like, "Enough," and then they do like the sign, and then they clasp hands and stuff, and it's great.
That's what siblings do.
Yeah, exactly. And it's great too because they're very different. Because you can tell that T'Challa is very like stoic and doesn't joke around that much, but his sister's like the exact opposite, and it's great. But it works as a good dynamic. She doesn't just make jokes because she has to. It's because it's part of her personality.
What I'm saying again is like the dynamic is there. Like you can tell that they grew up together doing that, so he's used to it. He's not gonna get mad when she kind of pokes fun at him.
What are those?
Like, oh, he froze, didn't he? Like, it's like, oh, he totally froze. There's like, oh, like.
No, but it's good. And so, and then you have Lupita, who is Nikita, his like this girl that he's been in love with probably since he was a young boy. But again, she's good too, because she's not even just a love interest. She adds outside perspective. Because you can assume just from the movie itself, you don't even need like a backstory. You can kind of get a general idea. You can tell that T'Challa has probably done a few world tours, but he probably was primarily raised in Wakanda, right? Because like why would I go get homeschooled somewhere else when like I'm in an advanced society where they have hover bikes, right? But Nikita, you can tell, has actually gone out, right? Nikita has gone out.
Return of the Jedi.
I referenced Back to the Future too, but okay. Anyway, but ever since like sorry, I'm going back here, but yeah, Nikita, you can tell, has gone out and like seen the world and like really experienced like not just the world but other African countries and stuff like that. Like the first time they meet her, she's in a mission trying to help out.
That scene is awesome too when he's like, in the trees, and, like all the guys are there, and like it's fucking great. Like they're searching around with like the flashlights, and they finally hit onto him, and he's like, oh shit! Like,
yeah.
Okay.
No, I agree with you, man. And you understand exactly like what her perspective is and what she brings to T'Challa and what she brings to the story. Then you have his female bodyguard, who, if you're protecting Black Panther, you have to be pretty badass to begin with. You understand exactly what kind of person she is, like how tough she is. So when she's surfing on a goddamn SUV, is believable to some extent. Like it's not just out of nowhere. It's like, okay, no, she has to be.
They have flying cars and hovercrafts and like Amtrak and like whatever.
Right.
I'm pretty sure they can train on cars.
On cars and everything. And I would say probably maybe like the one who's still very strong but probably not as well developed is the mom. But even then, you understand why she is the way she is because she's more of in the realm of the traditionalism.
Queen.
Yeah, and she's still a queen. And so, like, you get exactly why she is the way that she is, and you get why every character is the way they are. They aren't just there. They aren't there to meet a quota.
The character development with everybody.
Right. And no,
solid.
But it's her, like Claw. Everett Ross is in the movie, and even he has a point. Like,
I wish there was more between Claw and Killmonger. That's what I was going to say before.
Yeah.
Is because Killmonger and Claw seem to have a relationship, and then he kills him. There's the random chick that like assists in like the heist,
and Killmonger just murders her.
He kisses her, and then he murders her.
Yeah.
Who is she? Like,
so okay,
no, it's a random character, whatever.
Again,
but then again, oh sorry.
Well, no.
The timeout.
No. I'm just saying, like, I think, like, I want to say that these are kind of more nitpicks because I think we really enjoy the movie, but like, I think, like, here's my thing: is that most Marvel things have this cliche where they just kill the villain and then they just kind of move on. I like the fact that even though Claw died, I think way too soon, I would have liked to have seen more of his character.
I would have liked to see him survive for another like sequel or something.
Yeah, but I like that he was at least used in the plot, though, that they came back to the story. Because he uses him to get entrance into Wakanda, which I thought was at least good.
How did he just walk in?
Pretty much like, I mean, look, here's my thing. How
did he get there?
He knows the way there. I mean, everyone knows where Wakanda is, but he's one of the few people that actually knows what's behind the walls, essentially.
What's interesting about Killmonger, though, is like you don't know how he met Claw, what his relationship was beforehand, before the heist. That's what I'm saying. Like,
okay?
I would like.
But see, this is the genuine thing, though.
We only got like 3 sentences about like what his backstory was, and like that he was that little kid after his dad was killed. Sure, we got that little bit, but then we got Frodo there. Not Frodo, Bilbo.
You mean Everett Ross, Martin Freeman?
Martin Freeman saying like, "Oh yeah, he was trained to do this stuff. He's military, like everything." You got like a couple lines of dialogue about who he was.
I don't know.
Like him being like, "I've been places. I've trained. I've killed people." It's like, a little more backstory would have been nice.
I think.
I'm not saying we need a whole extra half hour. I'm saying
you just want a little
more.
Yeah, I think honestly what we got. I mean, okay, so like when they did, I'm not comparing it to Heath Ledger. I think that Killmonger is
once he starts, he's in like he's.
Well,
he's at like the museum.
Okay.
And then he's the bad guy,
and
then he just becomes the bad guy. The next scene you see him in, he kills them, steals the thing, and goes there. And he's like, he's just there.
I don't know. I mean, for me,
I would have liked a little more. I'm sorry. Like I said, it's a nitpick.
Okay.
The movie works. He works as a villain. He's a great villain. But
here's
a little foreplay would be nice.
Here's my thing, and I don't want to make comparisons because I think he's a great Marvel villain. I don't consider him on the same level of like Heath Ledger Joker. Some people have. I think because Marvel has such lacking villains, like Killmonger really does stand out. I think Vulture and Killmonger have been like really, really strong villains as far as this new Face is concerned. But well, that's TV, but we'll get on that later.
That's still Marvel.
Okay. But my thing is I think that the director, I mean, honestly, the way I see how he did it is I think he figured out less is more. Because villains, for the most part, are good, like, but you only need to, like, have them in there, like as long as you understand, like, what their purpose is, like, who they are, and, like, what they're going to do, like, that's enough. But essentially, like, he didn't. I don't think he wanted to overexpose Killmonger. Like he wanted us to kind of fill in the blanks a bit, to some extent. Like I mean, the whole sequence. I love the parallels between him and Black Panther. Like when you see Black Panther talk to his father, and then you see Killmonger do essentially the same thing. Like that's heartbreaking because you see like such a different dynamic and everything. And I love the contrast of their personalities and the fact that like he takes on the Black Panther mantle as well, but T'Challa chooses to use the one to blend in, and he goes for the gold and like the standing out because that is like his personality. I liked him enough, dude. Like I think he carried it enough himself that I didn't need to. Like I knew enough. Like there's certain smaller things that I caught the second time in. Like when he kills Zuri, he refers to him as Uncle James, and as he kills him, and that kind of tells you everything that you need to know because. From the flashbacks and everything that you see in that room, you know that essentially he was abandoned, like his dad was murdered, and Forrest Whitaker there left too. Like he didn't take care of that kid. Like that kid was left to fend for himself. And even then he reiterates it again when they're fighting on the train sequence. And he's like, what do I owe the world? The world took everything from me. You know? I mean, I'm not saying that you're not justified. Like but I think it's also like
it's a hard knock life.
Yeah, but it's not a Snoke type situation. You know, like I see it as like he did such a great performance and it was written to such a great degree that we really just want more of his character. Do you know what I'm saying?
Okay,
that's
I can see that.
Yeah.
Okay.
I also want to point out too another thing with the cliche of like the fact that the villain dies at the end.
Well, I mean,
but
going back to it, like not even like his full childhood upbringing. How did he know Claw? How did he get in with Claw? That would have been cool.
I mean, they're both obviously criminals. I mean, they could have met, and like that's
so all criminals just know each other. There's like a
criminal
Facebook.
He obviously
be like, oh hey, I want to steal something.
He's obviously was in like some sort of CIA Black Ops type deal. I mean, it wouldn't take much to know.
Did he do research on Claw and what?
Probably that's probably how he found out.
That would be cool to know.
I mean, look, if the way I see it too is like I said, like his last lines that he does in the movie are both like heartbreaking and like hardcore, and you see two different sides of him because you see the sad kid who was abandoned, like who had to go and find his dad's corpse up in the apartment, and then you also see the hardened guy he had to become after he was abandoned essentially. Like think about it, like the first line he says to Black Panther after he gets stabbed is he talks about his dad, and he just says, my dad said that Wakanda was like the most beautiful place on earth, and he refers to it as a fairy tale. And he talks about being a kid in Oakland thinking about it. Like that's heartbreaking because he's literally it's like a kid being told about Neverland and being like a real place, and then finding out that it really is.
Dying in shock, being like,
oh. Essentially. But then immediately, like the next scene, because T'Challa's trying to give him peace, and he's like, look, we can still save you, and he's like, no, man. Because he's like, I'd rather die like the slaves that went off the ship because I don't want to be in bondage.
Here's a fun note.
Okay.
Fun character to talk about. M'Baku.
Oh my god, dude, man! Well,
stole the show.
He's supposed to. Originally he was called Manape in the comics.
Thought it would be racist.
Yeah, that's very fair. But M'Baku is like they still make reference to him, like his origin, so it's really cool.
Well, it's because in the comic books he actually wears like an ape costume.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like where.
Well, it's more like it's not like a gorilla costume, but it's more of like he has like headgear that like is like a gorilla's head essentially, right? Yeah.
I didn't say a gorilla costume. I said like an ape costume. I said an ape costume.
I'm trying to clarify for people at home, just in case I'm not explaining to you. But yeah, like
stole the show.
It was awesome.
Like, I'm sorry, like his scenes were fucking great, and then when you hear him doing like the whole, everyone wants to call it like a woof, but it's like, I always just interpret it as like a gorilla.
Yeah, I mean he's like no, it's good. I mean, the thing I liked most about this movie, as far as like making Wakanda, is they establish how like advanced everything is, but they make a whole point about the tribal aspects and how like they see each other and how things are kind of done. It's very advanced, yet it's still kept to their roots and very traditionalist, And again, it explains too like why would the Queen just let like.
Sorry, continue. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
No, I was just saying like the scene where Killmonger like kills T'Challa, kills being in quotations here, throws him off the waterfall. And why doesn't the Queen do anything? It's because it's tradition.
That's the trial.
Yeah, that's the trial. That's how it's done.
Like combat. Exactly.
And so, but I like that. I like that they make like everything in the script and everything in the story. Nothing is really wasted. Like everything has a point. Everything goes back to what it needs to be talked about. Like nothing is really kind of like thrown under the bus.
Did you catch a lot of the cultural references to other cultures and religions in it?
Okay. Well, give me
I was bringing
examples.
Up M'Baku.
Okay.
Because at one point he yells out like for Hanuman, which is a Hindu god, which is like a monkey. I'm sorry to anybody listening.
No.
If anybody's listening, I'm not fully. I looked some of it up because like I heard it and I was like, I don't know that reference. I looked it up, and he's like a Hindu, like a monkey god.
Yeah.
And everything, and I was like, that kind of makes sense because he's like a monkey god thing.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a couple other ones, which then looking into that, I read a whole article with like a bunch of other ones where they reference at least like 3 or 4 different African and Middle Eastern religions within the movie, And I was like, that's kind of cool, because you think Wakanda has probably been there for a long time.
Very long time.
So, do they embrace these other religions, these other gods? Do they know that they are real or fake? Or
I think that like they're aware of Bast anyway. They don't really talk too much about Bast.
Bast is the Egyptian.
I mean he's referenced very heavily in the film, but not to the point of like where they actually show them praying to Bast.
She's a woman, I think. It's a different name. It's not just Bast.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Well, no. I mean, so here's the thing. This isn't in the movie, but it was referenced in the comics apparently. And again, I'm more DC, so I always talk to my Marvel friends, and they tell me things. And I got a buddy John that really goes into it and stuff. And apparently, it's kind of like the best way to describe M'Baku and his tribe. It's kind of like a Dorne situation, essentially, like in Game of Thrones. Like they're ruled by Black Panther, but they're kind of just left to their own devices, kind of thing.
Well,
and that's
they were saying like there's the 5 tribes,
right?
They kind of don't.
Yeah, they don't
take in the whole thing.
Yeah,
but they're still kind of ruled by it.
Yeah, and they know about vibranium, and they kind of keep it to themselves too. They don't.
Well, they don't have vibranium.
Well, that's the thing.
Their tribe doesn't have vibranium.
Yeah, that's the thing. So I didn't realize in the movie that that's the case, and apparently in the books it's like that too. They work off of wood and everything. That's why you have all the wood in the throne room of M'Baku. Yeah, and fishing.
Which is funny because when they were saying like, "Oh, be quiet or I will feed you my kids," all the vegetarians.
Yeah.
And everybody's like, "They're vegetarians. Why is he wearing like fur? And why is he like fishing?" It's like, shut the fuck up. There's so many different levels of vegetarians that like, whatever.
If he said I'm vegan, I would have probably left.
Yeah.
But
he didn't say vegan. Like I think it's like pescatarians or something. That
look, the point being it was a fun joke. It worked for the character and it was funny.
People are always looking to like nitpick.
Yeah,
even more than we nitpick.
Yeah, I know. But I liked his character. I thought it was cool. He made a lot of sense. And
I love the mask that he wore too, because it was like a pharaoh monkey mask.
Yeah,
which makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Like there were little things like that I was just like, all right, cool.
The devil is in the details. This is why you and I had issue again. Bring it in, but Last Jedi is because when we really looked at the details, the film falls apart.
Like for the next year, you're just gonna.
I'm gonna bring it up as often as I can.
So this movie was great, but you remember when like. In Star Wars, it sucked. Yeah. Well, this movie was so much better. Like,
but honestly, though, man, like it's refreshing because like you could tell the writers generally gave a shit about the story.
The other thing I really liked is that you could go into this movie without knowing anything about the
Black
Marvel
Panther.
universe. No, anything about the entire Marvel universe. This could be a totally standalone movie.
Yeah.
And except for like in the very beginning, there was like that flashback.
Well, they're filling in things
the flashback
too.
of like the bomb going off in like Civil War and his dad dying. You could go into this and watch it as a whole movie by itself without knowing anything else about the MCU.
Mm-hmm. Well,
standalone.
See, but that's smart though.
It fills in gaps for the MCU, but it could be a standalone to somebody new.
But that's smart though too, because I think Marvel as a studio, they're at least smart enough to realize that there's going to be fans who are hardcore, and even people who don't even read the comics that are just follow those movies, that love the movies. There's going to be people that just don't know anything. They're just going to come into this one film. So like we have to have the film still stand on its own somewhat. Like have references to the MCU in there, but let it stand on its own.
But see, it only happened at the beginning. That's what I'm saying. It's like at the very beginning they had those little references, but the rest of the movie they really didn't until the end credit scenes.
Pretty much,
which, sorry, spoilers.
Well, we've been doing spoilers.
Is still there. What?
White Wolf, yeah. Call him White Wolf.
Whatever.
What was I gonna say? The
guy who killed Harrison Ford's wife.
Anyway.
The man with the one arm.
God. Anyway.
The one-armed man.
The one-armed man did it. But lost my train of thought.
Sorry.
It's alright.
Terrible reference.
No, I was gonna say because actually, because Spider-Man: Homecoming. While I love Spider-Man: Homecoming, like a lot of it's so in like they almost kind of went to the exact opposite. Like they wanted to show you that this is their Spider-Man. This Spider-Man is in their universe with their supporting characters.
Too much though.
Yeah,
like, but Tony Stark was half the movie.
Well, but you know what though? Like here's my thing though.
Here's
my thing though with Homecoming. Like I thought Homecoming did a great job with that though. Like the fact that they chose to do that, but they actually integrated it really well to the point like where Like, they were able to build up Sinister Six simultaneously while making all the references to the Marvel Universe while still making a good Spider-Man story. And it still worked. Like, I was amazed that it didn't fall apart. Like, because it's like, it'd be like, oh, you're doing too much of this and not enough of this. And, like, it actually all flowed pretty well. Like, it wasn't too much. For me as a fan,
anyway. It
throws
a wrench into me for a lot of the other Marvel movies, though, because if you look back,
the time gap with the 8 years,
no, not even that. It's all right. So Spider-Man is on like the ferry, and Iron Man shows up to like help the ferry. All right, cool. So you're keeping tabs on Spider-Man. What happened during Winter Soldier? What happened during like Thor 2? There's shit going on all the time in the Marvel Universe, and nobody else intervenes.
I can let that slide because they hadn't done Avengers yet. With at least by no, I'm saying not Thor 2. What was the other one?
Winter Soldier.
Oh, Winter Soldier. Oh no, Thor okay, 2. Never mind then. No, but what I'm saying
both of those are after Avengers.
No, never mind. So what I mean to say is, I'm gonna go back. I felt like I'm backtracking it. Well, I feel like Iron Man is keeping tabs on Spider-Man in a certain sense of like it's his pet project, whereas like the other guys, he kind of knows they can kind of handle things themselves. I guess that's how I see it. That didn't bother me. Okay, we're talking too much about Spider-Man, but the point being is that, like, I agree with you as Black Panther, it can kind of stand on its own.
Yeah.
I like that.
It mainly took place in Wakanda.
Yeah. I was surprised. I honestly expected, like, half of it to be in Wakanda, and maybe half of it to be other places. But it's more of, like...
Well,
it's more like...
I say that, like,
it's like 80-20%.
The scenes where they were not in Wakanda, where they're, like...
South Korea?
Yeah. Reminded me so much of James Bond.
Yeah, I think that's intentional, though.
So much of James Bond, like Casino
because he's in a casino, and and a thing goes wrong, and
like they're like sitting there, like they're all like spread out, and they're looking for the contacts. It was totally a James Bond vibe, which I'm not saying is a bad thing.
Yeah.
I enjoyed it, but yeah, I liked it a lot.
I can say, like, you can reference anything, just don't rely on the reference. Like, let it still be your own thing. You know what I'm saying? Like they're making homage.
No, it was still their own thing.
That's what I'm saying. Like, they're homaging James Bond, but they're not trying to necessarily copy James Bond. They're just
I don't really think they were a homage to James Bond. I just think that how many times in a James Bond movie have you seen them infiltrate someplace undercover and being, like, trying to catch somebody?
Yeah.
That's, like, every James Bond movie.
More or less.
So,
yeah.
Like,
what was I going to say again? There was, when we talked about Circus, we talked about Martin Freeman, we talked about Killmonger, we talked about supporting characters.
Did we talk about the Tolkien white guys?
I guess they are Tolkien white guys. Yes, I know.
I know, that joke's been all over the internet, it's not mine.
I know. Yeah, honestly, I'm just kind of annoyed at Marvel. Like, I don't know if, like, Andy Serkis just can't be a live-action performance for more than like half an hour.
Maybe it's in his contract.
And he has to get murdered. I don't know. Like they killed him.
Part of his body needs to be CGI.
They killed him in Star Wars. They killed him in this. It's just like, but why?
But if I'm doing this movie, I need to have a weird hand CGI'd because my whole body can't be like shown.
No, that's just how Claw is. Difference being is I think his hand was taken by Black Panther and or his dad in the comics, and this one is taken by James Spader.
But still, I'm sad. I'm sad that he didn't stick around.
I know, man, but you know, like
that's a good villain that
I know.
Again.
I don't know. Maybe
they gets resurrected because
I mean, Infinity Stones.
It's comic books.
Yeah, maybe he'll come back. Who knows?
Comic books. Nobody ever stays dead.
Well, I was talking about that. I was talking about that with a friend of mine. We were leaving when we left the theater after the first time seeing it because both Killmonger and Claw are dead by the end of this movie. And I was like, yeah, they're still killing the villains though. Like, and it's worse when they're even good. Like, thank God. Like, I thought Vulture was gonna die at the end of Homecoming, but he didn't die. Thank God. But
I'm happy about that.
Huh? Yeah.
I'm happy about that.
No, and I want him to.
They'll have to pay Michael Keaton more to come back.
Seriously, but I was saying to him, and he was saying to me, he's like, dude, I just don't think they're caring right now to some extent because Infinity War is going to happen.
Need to.
Well, that's the thing, but Infinity War is going to happen, and some things might just come back because Infinity Stones, and then they can just bring back whoever the fuck they want, and it doesn't matter.
It kind of is just like a writer's crutch.
Yeah.
With the Infinity Stones, they can really write in anything they want because any of the Infinity Stones, what you want, like time, matter, reality.
Here's my thing: is like when is death in mainstream comic book superhero things. When has it really mattered?
The Waynes and Uncle Ben.
No, that's what I'm saying though. Like Death.
Even Gwen Stacy's. How many
clones?
We got Spider-Gwen.
Yeah.
We got like Gwen Poole. We got.
But Death doesn't matter in comics anymore. It hasn't for the longest time, and it's hard.
We don't have Uncle Ben Poole.
Yeah.
Or
don't give them ideas.
Spider Ben.
Dan Slott's still writing it. He can still do it. You don't know.
Well, even if the Waynes have come back, and like whereas Bruce dies, and that's the Wayne. So it's like.
I don't think I don't think the main continuity, but maybe in other stories. Okay, well I don't know, but like, hey man.
Spin-off. Like, you know what I'm talking
about. Yeah, but yeah, it's hard to explain
they're making like a Krypton prequel show for sci-fi.
I don't know what that's really about. It looks fun, but
anyways,
but I was saying to my friends when I talk to them about comic book movies, like I have friends that are like, into like Game of Thrones, where, death is real. It affects everyone around them essentially. Like when
unless you are friends with a specific god that can bring you back multiple times.
Well, I'm just saying, with the exception of maybe like Jon Snow, like when people die, people essentially die in those stories. So I've said to him, and he said to me, he's like, dude, I don't take it seriously. Like I like the movies are entertaining, but he's like, I don't take it.
Chicken made that whole joke about the DC people like
right.
The funeral. And like I think it's
and Green Arrow's at his own funeral with the life bracelet.
That's at the end of it, and like I think it's Batman or Superman who's just like, all right, I don't get it. How many funerals are we going to attend? Like, how many times have you died? How many times have you died? We keep attending these funerals, and we all come back. And then at the end of it, it's like Green Arrow looks over and like he's at his own funeral.
Yeah.
Like,
I don't know, man. I'm interested to see what they're going to do with Death and whatnot with the Infinity Stones and all of that.
If they do.
I don't. Well, I mean,
do you think Death will be in there?
I don't know about Death. Like,
I was thinking the actual.
I was saying the concept of Death.
Okay, I was thinking.
Yeah, for those of you who don't know, in Marvel Comics, Death actually has a personification that Thanos is in love with. So that's a whole another side topic. I don't know if they're going to do that.
He wants to kill everybody to please her.
Pretty much, yeah. Anyway,
every bad boyfriend, I want to give you everything you want. So your Death, I want to kill everyone.
Here's my thing, though. I mean, they're definitely going to kill some of the Avengers in Infinity War. It's going to happen. They're going to either kill Iron Man or Captain America or Hulk, depending on what they want to do.
I'm already saying they're going to kill a bunch of them, and then, hey, what's up? I got a time stone. Let's go back in time.
Yeah, and then the fourth Avengers will bring them back. But at that point, they'll be able to choose, and the actors will be able to choose whether they want to come back or not. And they can be like, we'll bring this person back, and then we'll have someone like Bucky will probably replace Chris Evans as Captain America. That'll probably happen.
I think like the end credit scene was already kind of getting ready for that, where they were like, "Oh, how are you feeling?" And he was like, "I'm feeling better. I'm feeling like that they helped his brain out."
Yeah, that was the whole point, because it has the most advanced technology on the planet Earth.
I'm feeling they helped his brain out, so now he's more.
He's not brainwashed anymore.
Yeah, he's not brainwashed. He's good. They're gonna give him a new metal arm, and then when Cap dies, he's gonna pick up the mantle.
Yeah, and he's gonna be Bucky Cap,
as done already in the comic books at the end of Civil War.
Ed Brubaker, who wrote Bucky Cap, and I've read Bucky Cap, and it's great. He actually did a poll one time when he was doing a convention. It was a big convention center, and the whole thing was filled because people were loving the new Captain America run, and people were asking, well, when is Cap going to come back? Because everyone knew, like, since Superman, people come back all the time. And he's like, I've been interested. Like, people seem to really be responding. And he's like, show of hands, like, who prefers the original Cap and who prefers Bucky? And it was kind of even. Like, people enjoyed both versions of the character because Bucky brought kind of like
because a mantle like Captain America can be passed down. I feel like it can be passed down.
Well, it has been. I mean, with Bucky,
I know
and then
it has been,
yeah,
but I'm saying it can be. Whereas, like, as long as like the teachings and like the values are there,
do you see
the mantle can be passed down to another character?
Just hear me out. Do you see Cap coming back in like the fourth Avengers, and then Bucky will take on Captain America, but Cap himself will just maybe go on and still being kind of like Nomad essentially, or something like that?
I feel like they're setting up Nomad already.
I mean, it already seems to be the case with this movie.
I feel like he's already gonna be Nomad.
Yeah.
And I feel like Cap himself is going to turn away from the shield, and somebody else is going to pick up the shield.
Yeah.
And so he's going to be there with his new the Wakandan.
Well, actually, I was just
thing
thinking about this because Tony has the shield, right?
Yeah.
In Civil War, and that's why, of course, in the trailer he says, "Somebody get this man a shield," like, and he has those things you see in the other trailers.
I also feel like they're all gonna bond back up again because it's gonna be a giant global threat that's gonna threaten the entire planet.
Obviously, but I'm thinking like, Tony might give him the shield in Infinity War.
They're all gonna meet up at some point and be like, they're gonna look at each other and have that moment being like, no time for it now. It's like, oh, there's always time for it. Not now, Tony. Like some of that type of dialogue and being like,
maybe, I don't know.
It's like, oh, you decided to show up. He's like, not now, Tony. Like, there's bigger things here. And he's like, oh, well, I think we can handle it. It was like, not alone. Like that type of stupid dialogue.
As long as we don't see like Hulk and Black Widow makeup, I'm fine with that.
No, instead we'll have Scarlet Witch and Vision have their whole little.
That makes sense because that's an actual coupling from the comics, whereas like right out of left field with Black Widow and Hulk, but that's another thing. Yeah. Speaking of which, I told you this earlier, but Joss Whedon apparently left Batgirl. This is the funniest thing though. His official statement.
We've totally gone off the rails with Black Panther.
No, I know, yeah.
Totally
But his official press statement was that he realized he got too excited about the project and then he had actually no story to tell. I'm like, yeah, no. I'm pretty sure that's complete bullshit.
Oh, poor Barbara.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's also complete.
They're coming to get you, Barbara.
Yeah, but like, I just feel, dude, I'm a DC fan. I feel so bad right now about what like they so screwed over. I want my Zack Snyder cut of that movie because I would take it over whatever I got in theaters. That was a mess. I mean, it was fun, I guess, and somewhat enjoyable, but it was.
All right, I say we wrap this up because we're.
All right. Well, you know what? It was fine. Well, look, I mean, what are you gonna say about a movie that's like critically acclaimed and box office loved, and you and I both very much enjoyed the movie? We can't really nitpick it too much. Oh, you know what?
CGI Rhino.
Yeah,
the thing at the end was fucking goofy.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
No, it was.
I get the joke. It's like, yeah, he's leading the charge. And then he meets up with his girlfriend, and the Rhino likes his girlfriend better, and like, it's cute. Because it didn't stop to lick her face.
See, it
looks fucking goofy as shit.
This is how much
the movie was fucking fine.
This is how much I like that movie. Is that the one-on-one like Panther fight, looking like Spider-Man versus Venom and Spider-Man 3 level CGI. As off as it was, I didn't care because I was actually invested in the characters enough where it didn't bother me. Like, that's what I'm saying. Like, that's how good the movie was.
I like the movie enough to like. My nitpick is like a fucking rhino. Like,
yeah.
Like really,
I mean, it made sense at least. It's in Africa. It's something they would do.
All the other shit that like I could nitpick about this movie, I pick a fucking rhino. Like,
yeah. It worked.
Hey, I got a joke for you. What's the difference between a hippo and a zippo?
I don't know.
One's a giant, big, heavy mammal, and the other's a little lighter.
You're a dork.
I am. We're doing a fucking podcast and you call me a dork?
Yeah, no, I just think it's just a dorky joke. Anyway, yeah, look, if you're not seeing Black Panther, just go see it. It's a good movie. It doesn't.
Oh, I know something.
It doesn't force any agendas down your throat.
Right. That's so the internet right now.
Yeah.
And they're going about like African American agendas and like with it, like because it came out in February, which is like Black History Month.
I mean, that was probably Marvel that did that, but still, but
still, I'm sorry, it's a great movie, and yes, it's predominantly black because it takes place in Africa. Weird, huh? In a fictional country.
But I want to make a point. Like I legit thought that like Last Jedi was pushing too much on me and trying to do stupid things.
There was also people who were mad that there was a deleted scene, that there was no bisexual or lesbian people in the movie.
Well, in Black Panther?
Yeah, in Black Panther.
I heard about that, yeah.
And I'm just like, why? There doesn't need to be. Well, not saying there doesn't need to be, but like the relationship that were in there were barely even a relationship to begin with. Yeah. They hinted at stuff, but it wasn't like there was no sex scenes, there was no makeout sessions. We don't need that. It worked on its own because it was mainly just like T'Challa like caring about this other woman, and then making jokes about him caring about her.
Yeah.
Like they didn't have a romantic relationship at all. Like they kind of just like he cared about her. I know she cared about him. Like there was some little like tension. I mean, look, but like it wasn't like there was no need for any other political or sexual thing there. Just enjoy the fucking movie.
Yeah, there's that. Look, my only comment on that is like, does it pertain to the main story? Is it vital to the main story? That's all I ask. They did something kind of similar though recently though in Thor Ragnarok too, because the Valkyrie, she was supposed to have. It was insinuated that she too had like a, like a lesbian type relationship with one of the other Valkyrie, and they kind of undercut that too. And I'm saying like, if you're doing it for time or you're doing it for because it doesn't pertain to the rest of the story, okay, but don't do it just because you don't want to bring it up or something like that. That's all I have to say about that subject. Like, if it furthers the plot and there's a reason to have it in the story and it helps the story, it's vital that it's there.
If it's organic.
Yeah, if it's organic, have it be in there. Yeah.
If you're just throwing it in there just to throw it in there to appease people,
exactly, like
it doesn't make sense.
It doesn't make if it does. Yeah, but if it throws off the pacing and everything else, like there's no point to it. But okay. All that being said, I felt all the female characters were important. I felt all the male characters were important. I felt every character had a point to the main story.
CGI characters were important.
The rhinos had a dilemma.
The rhinos. I mean, come on.
But they were great though. I mean, as bad CGI as it was, like at least I understood like why they were there.
Yeah.
So it's like okay. But yeah, go out and see the movie. It's great.
If you haven't yet, go and see it twice.
Yeah, it's awesome. All right, that's all I got to say about it. Are you done?
Yeah, I'm done. Bye, guys.